trying to join.
Okay.
We have started the webinar.
Okay.
Thanks, Rupa. So, hello everyone. Good evening. We'll just give a minute more to just uh, enable a few more folks to join, as well as the moderator for the session later on. So, Umesh, if you can just give us a thumbs up once you've joined, it will be great.
Abarna, madam is here. Huh? She will take up the opening remarks. Okay.
Okay, great. Thanks. Yeah. Hello, ma'am.
Hello. Good evening.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good
How are
Good
you?
evening. Good.
Probably.
Let's get
Shall we
started.
start then?
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's get started
Oh,
about.
all
Yeah.
right.
So, good evening, everyone. Thank you for taking time out and joining this webinar. So, as you know, this is the second in the series of webinars which KSEBL and WRI India are organizing together. The series is called Charging Kerala Forward, which looks at building an EV-ready grid. The first of this webinar was organized on 14th May, where we looked at EV growth in Kerala, the charging aspects and the grid impacts. This is the second one where we'll be looking at electricity distribution grid planning and demonstrate a simple tool called Elevate that we have developed, and seek your feedback and suggestions on how we could improve that and how it could be used by KSEB. And it aims to explore the implications of rising EV demand on the state's charging infrastructure and distribution grid capacity. And this tool also supports the DISCOMs by helping them understand, and make data-driven decisions for strategic investment planning to adopt smart demand management solutions and development of grid-resilient EV policies. Now, the question is, why do we need such a tool? So, of course, there is the overall context of, India setting ambitious goals to reduce dependence on fossil fuels, and we also have the net zero target, and in particular for EVs we have the EV 30 at 30 target, meaning that by 2030 30% of all new vehicle sales should be electric. Our cities are expanding rapidly. Cooling and electric vehicle loads are going to significantly come in, and this makes the role of electricity distribution companies, or DISCOMs as we more familiarly know them, very critical. They must be able to anticipate, manage the impact of EV charging on their networks. We are already seeing the examples of this in Kerala, where KSEB has faced record peak demand during summer months, and recently has also proactively introduced time of day tariffs to see if that could help align the EV demand with the grid's load curve. But these tariffs alone are not enough. We also need to look at how to address different technical challenges like cable sizing, reactive compensation, line losses. These would need detailed load flow studies. But each time running a load flow, needs you to set up the system, the model, take some time to run it. So that's the reason we felt that there is a gap where there is a need for simple practical planning tools where you can quickly assess the immediate impact of EV growth to just guide and provide rule of thumb calculations in investment decisions. Whether I should upgrade the transformer or introduce measures like time of use, defer the capex investment to a later date. So this is where this tool Elevate comes in. It's a scalable online interactive tool that quantifies the impact of the EV fleets at the distribution transformer level. It uses a multiple set of variables like fleet size, the battery characteristics, average trip lengths, and also the charging behavior and then it calculates the additional EV load on top of your regular load growth. So with this insights, they can utilities can take a 5-year view to see when different planning or capacity limitations on the transformers are hit, and make those informed decisions. So yeah, that sets the context for today's webinar, and we would definitely like to thank the KSEB leadership, both present and past, with the CMDs Shri Mir Mahmood Ali and Shri Biju Prabhakar. Also, Shri Sajeev Ji, Director of Renewable Energy and Energy Services. We would also like to thank Shri Naushad Sharafuddin, who's the Executive Engineer Innovation at KSEB. Looking forward to working with you. And Srimati Asha PA, Chief Engineer REES, and her team, including Srimati Sini John and Shri Sajin Ismail, and the KSEB EV Accelerator Cell team. So with that, on behalf of WRI and KSEB, we would like to welcome you to this webinar, and I would now like to hand it over to Asha ma'am for her opening remarks.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. On behalf of Kerala State Electricity Board Limited, I welcome you all to the second webinar in our series, Charging Kerala Forward, Building an EV-Ready Grid, organized by KSEB with WRI India. Our first webinar in May looked at Kerala's EV growth, charging patterns, and the grid impacts. We saw how adoption is accelerating, especially in 2- and 3-wheelers, and how charging both at homes and public stations poses new challenges for our distribution network. Today's session takes that discussion forward. We will be introduced to the Elevate tool developed by WRI India, which helps utilities like KSEBL plan ahead for EV integration, make data-driven investment decisions, and manage demand smartly. We will also hear a special address on grid resilience and the role of the EV accelerator cell, followed by a panel discussion on whether our distribution grid is ready to handle the EV surge in the next 5 years. I look forward to the insights and discussions today. Thank you all for joining us and for contributing to Kerala's EV journey.
Thank you, ma'am. With that, we will move on to the next segment. I'd like to invite Shri Naushad Sharafuddin, Executive Engineer Innovation at KSEBL, to deliver his address. Mr. Naushad Sharafuddin is a pioneer in Kerala's solar revolution and has played a key role in ensuring third position for Kerala in India's solar deployment rankings. He was also instrumental in execution of the Kerala's first IPP project, and has been representing KSEBL at various forums and appreciated at the national and state level. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. So I am joining with this esteemed team, and I am really happy to work with you so as to take the things forward. Now, grid. As far as grid is concerned, we should know what is our present status and what is the capacity of the grid, or what is the actual requirement now. See, as peak time now, 5,700 megawatt is our capacity, and during the non-peak time, 3,500 to 4,000 megawatt is the requirement. This is being added. It's because of the reason that two loads are there. One is air conditioners and the other one is EV. Air conditioners, of course, these are not things we cannot just have a control over the public. What are the things what they want, we have to provide them. So 2040 concerned, as you rightly said, we would like to make RE sufficient, which means that there is no more any thermal loads. We have to make everything from renewable energy. So making this to 2030, 10,000 megawatt is our criteria. And 2040, of course, it will raise from 10 gigawatt to minimum 15 or even 20 gigawatt, 20,000 megawatt. So when the EV is in place, to make the infrastructure a green, see, we'll be having three colors. We were having something like gray color, which doesn't have a green mix. After that, it has become a blue color. It is a mix of what you call thermal as well as the green. Now, actually, we are moving slowly to that green by 2040. So 2040, including the EV, when it reaches 15 or 20 gigawatt, we want to make it everything from green energy. So the grid what you are planning must be capable to cater the load by 2040. This is the objective put forward by the government of Kerala. Even though the government of India, they are not that much walking fast, but Kerala government is walking fast so as to have the target of 2040 as the already sufficient and 2050 as the carbon-free scenario. Having said so, to make the grid capable of this, we have to make the grid not only capable to handle this, simply arranging the transformer in the distribution areas or making infrastructure doesn't make sense. But we have to make it green as well. All the requirement we have to cater according to our walkthrough has to be made from the grid. See, now I am just looking forward for whatever the things which are coming up and the one which you are going to launch and all. I will say that we have a good taking forward through and other, all the fuel filling stations are also coming up with EV stations and all. Today also we had a discussion to make the Pioneer one, which has to be inaugurated within a span of 1 or 2 times. IOC, Hindustan Petroleum, everything is coming up with that venture and all. So we have to see in mind with how the grid can be made capacity smart enough so as to handle this requirement of the load in future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. It is very heartening to to look at KCB's ambitions, and we look forward to working with you closely on making this a reality. Uh, I would like to now invite Akansha Saklani, consultant WRI, to present the Elevate tool. Over to you, Akansha. Please share your questions on the Q&A box during the presentation so that we can pick them up at the end, towards the end of the presentation.
Thanks, Aparna, and thank you, Deepak and sir, because what I wanted to talk, I think, is mostly covered that how Kerala is experiencing the growth. What I'll do is I'll share whole screen, Aparna, so that it's easier. Please let me know if my screen is visible.
Yes, the browser
Yeah,
is visible.
perfect.
Yeah.
Yes, and the slide deck also, right?
Yes.
Perfect. So, like Deepak mentioned and Naushad sir mentioned that Kerala is experiencing growth, and till March 2025, there has been around 2.53 lakh EV registration in the state, and there is every year there's around 10% new registration. So this new EVs is also requiring the EV charging infrastructure. Where do we put infrastructure? And to have an integrated planning, it also needs energy which can come and charge the infrastructure. So Elevate actually looks at the E part of EV, that are our grid resilient enough to actually have EV load. And like Deepak mentioned that we don't want to do very heavy load flow analysis, and we wanted to do a very simplistic analysis where users can run different scenarios for electricity vehicle, the number of electricity vehicle coming up, what time it is coming up to do it. And we also feel that the scenarios has to be very localized, because imagine if in one street there are 15 EV charging which are charging at the same point, it can create a stress. So it's important that the analysis are very localized and it takes from there. So having said that, I'll just go to the next one. So for us, the opportunity was to develop a simple tool which can help our utilities and planners to understand the impact of EVs at different scenarios. So like we are saying, scenario can be where there are 1,000 cars, where are 500 vehicles, and the scenario can be that there are 10 vehicles which are charging at the same time, because it all depends when they're charging and how much they're charging. And then the tool can actually support in planning and capital investment decisions. Planning in the sense that, okay, suppose we have tool. So does it need a deferral, or can we nudge the consumers? Like Kerala recently announced that time of the use day tariff or time of use tariff. So can we nudge, or do we think that the transformer will actually breach the load in another 2 years or 3 years? So it can help them plan it like that. And then it also allows users to understand that what is the intervention required to manage the impact of the grid. To understand it and how much it is happening. One thing which the tool does, it doesn't store any grid data. So the idea is that, it also gives a security to the DTs that once I have done my analysis and I close the session, my the load profile is not stored. So the DTs are very comfortable with the utilities are very comfortable with the data. So I'll go to the next one. Yes. So like I mentioned, Elevate is a very simple online interactive Python-based tool. It uses Monte Carlo simulation and linear programming to see what is the impact of EVs going to come in the grid for the next 5 years. We have two scenarios, and I should also say that managed scenario is something we are looking forward to guidance from KSEBL to how to improve it and how to take it forward. So unmanaged scenario basically helps you to throw the aggregate when there is no nudge or no behavioral impact coming to charge the electric vehicle. So how people are charging the electric vehicle at any point of time. And manage is something, can we nudge people to actually charge it at the off-peak hours so that it goes, you don't have to replace the DT, and it also allows you to calculate the incentive which can be provided to the consumers. Again, we would like inputs from KCB and all our participants on how to improve it, and because the tool has to be live and organic and it has to evolve with the needs of the utility. So how we did it is to develop the tool, first thing we did is to understand what is our vehicle population estimation, like, how many vehicles are coming up in the area. So we try to understand that, how many vehicles are being registered, and then we try to calculate the CAGR or the growth rate of the vehicle for electric vehicles and the overall vehicles which are coming up. Then secondly, we checked what is the battery range and capacity, because every vehicle has a different battery range, and then battery also defines when do you need to charge, how much discharge is happening. So we try to understand the battery range for different range of the vehicles. And then we talked about what is the network data and the projection. So basically, what is a base load? And it's not like that in the next 5 years, only the load of electric vehicles will increase. The normal, your base load, like commercial load and agriculture load, or the load for for air conditioning in Kerala will also keep on increasing as the temperature rises. So we try to understand what is the base load across the network and how it is going to increase. And then we try to analyze the load at the DT level. What the tool allows, it reduces, so for the different scenarios, you can use the tool. You don't have to go for complicated data load for analysis. It can also support distribution companies to figure out that do we need to augment the tool, or can we nudge the people to go for off-peak charging. And one of the things which we mentioned is that, it doesn't store the data of the utility. So it's once the analysis is done, the data is destroyed from the system. There's no data. And it also supports the consumers to reduce the cost. So if I'm charging my electric vehicle at off-peak hours, I can also save some money. I'll just talk about the limitations, and then I'll go to the tool, or I can come back again. So the tool, what it does is it does, we have done the modeling, but we have not done it like at a different watt level. And we are assuming that there are no space constraint when it comes to installing. And the current analysis is focused exclusively on unmanaged. And at the next step with the, guidance from KSEB, we want to take the managed charging module to encompass tariff-based or power output controls. And we are also hoping to integrate the RE analysis, the RE mix into the analysis. But we can come again and I can talk about it. What I'll do is I'll actually go to the tool right now. So if you guys want to access the tool, you can access it at elevate.wri-india.org. We'll also drop in the link here. And Rumpa, can we drop the link here? And so right now the tool is at alpha version, or we'll say that, we are just working on it and we're improving it day by day. So if you want, you can just sign up for the tool. You'll get an email ID and you can then access the tool. So what we have done is for the users to test, we have actually added some pre-configured EV load scenarios, which then you just need to put in your EV load file and then you can get it. But for now, let's start with the analysis. So like I mentioned, first thing we do is we try to understand what is the load of the different vehicles which comes up. So it asks, how many categories of electricity consumers are present. So when we say categories, the categories can be your commercial, your industrial, your agriculture, or residential. So for this analysis, let's say we have 4 categories, and then we ask, do you have a separate electricity load data for each consumer? Right now, the tool take aggregated data, and going forward, we would like the user to have the option of adding separate, electricity load so that they can test it out at different level. And right now, because we are actually saying going down that, what is the share we use. Then the tool asks the users to upload the electricity data load file. For the test, what we have done is we have simulated the data load. If you click on download sample file, it can download the data for you. Let me just open it and share it once. So this is the downloaded file, which tells what is the capacity of the distribution transformer, what is the CT ratio. It also tells you what is, meter number, so that it can be identified what is the reactive power and active power, so that it can then take the load. So what we can do is, for now, we'll just upload this file, the one which I've downloaded right now. And then we actually say that, so we said that, what are our 4 categories? And then we mentioned that what are the 4 categories, what is the load share of those categories, and what is the electricity demand CAGR we're expecting. Say for me, my first category is residential, and the tool, it actually gives messages or error, like the load of all categories must be 100. So it's like if you're dividing a pie, it has to be full. So I am going for residential, commercial, industrial, and let's say agricultural. So for this analysis, and I'm putting really random numbers, the situation might or might not be the same on the ground. So I'm saying that 30% of my load is from residential, 30% is from commercial, 30% is from industrial, and 10% is from agricultural. So when my load became 100, the error issue went. But if I keep it at say 0, it says that my load has to be 100. So we are trying to put the checks as well. So for CAGR, I'm putting 8% overall, which again might or might not be the same. Then the tool asks that, how many categories of electric vehicle we have. So when we say categories, it means that is this a bus category or a car, 2-wheeler, 3-wheeler, depending on the category, because every electric vehicle might have their different battery capacity, their charging efficiency, their range. So for this analysis, let's take 4. The tool takes maximum of 4, but we can increase more going forward. So let's say we have cars, we have 2-wheelers, we have a bus, and we have 3-wheelers. And if you go with predefined scenario, everything is included, and the idea is that user can just keep on changing the scenario, change the scenario there, and say use there as well. But so because Kerala has a lot of private cars, so let's give that in my area there are 1,000 cars, and there are say 750 2-wheelers. I have 500 bus, and I have 100 3-wheelers. The numbers are purely random, and we can change it. And the idea is to actually build scenarios to see, stress test the distribution transformer, how it is going to work. So I'm saying that I'm going to charge my vehicle 1 time at a day, and then it's asking battery capacity of a particular category of vehicle. So when I said category, is like, it's a car and then number of vehicles which are available, which can be charged. So for car, because the car has battery somewhere between 50 to 250, depending on the type of car, I'm just going to take 100. For 2-wheeler, I'll take 20. For bus, I'll take 150. And for three-wheelers, I'll take 50. And then charging power, if it is a slow charging, it will be less. If it's fast charging, it will be high. But for now, I'll just take 20. And bus, I'll take 15 because, and here also I'll take 15. And then what is the efficiency of the charging? How much of the loss it is happening? So let's say that our charging efficiency is 90% for all the data set. Then we are saying that what is the range? So if my battery is 100% full, how much the vehicle can run end to end? It's similar like IC engine when we fill the fuel tank, how much we can go. So I'm going to put 200 for car, 150 for two-wheeler, bus will go 100 and 80 I'm putting for this. And then what we're asking is the charging time, because we want to understand the low, what is the electricity requirement. So we are saying that at what time your vehicle is charging. So if I'm saying like my car are charging at 3 p.m. So what we have done is we have converted into a 24-hour clock, and then we are multiplying it with 60 to have the granular interval at, because if you want to do analysis at 15-minute interval, if you want to do analysis at 60-minute interval or 30-minute interval. So right now I'm giving it as 480. Then I'll give it as 560, 720, and I'm giving it at 560. And then what is my standard deviation? Because not everybody is going to be charging at the same time. So, how much of change do I think? They'll be charging 30 minutes plus or minus 20 minutes. And these all are the scenarios to help us stress out, stress the DT and see how they're going to perform, or will there be any load and can we shift the load? So for now, I'm giving the standard deviation at 30 minutes interval. And so what is the daily length of the trip? What are we expecting? So like there was a study which said that on an average there's 50 kilometers in a car or a two-wheeler, but when it's a bus or a three-wheeler, which is a commercial vehicle, it might go more. So for now, I'll give just 50 kilometers. And let me give 100 here and 80 here. And then do we see any standard deviation again in terms of the daily trip? Because some days there can be more, some days there can be less. So let's put 5 for everything. And then what is the possibility state of ending of charge? So when we say ending state of charge, so it's like similarly like to our phone, like some people keep their phone till 100% charge, some people keep their phone till 90% charge, and some people like me do it only till 10% and then run for the battery. So I'm just going to put 90% here. And then again, standard deviation. So here I'm putting 10. And then what is the CAGR, or how much of the sales we are expecting to grow? Like we said that in Kerala, there is 10% new registration, which is every year, but that is mostly on two-wheelers and cars for personal use. So how, electric vehicles are growing year on a year. So say, let me put 10 for cars. And then for buses, I can put 5, and for three-wheelers also, let me put 8%. And then what is the base electricity tariff, which which is paid by relevant electric vehicle. For now, I'm just giving 10. So the idea is, please log in, use the tool through modeling, and if there is a bug, please reach out to us. We would like to resolve it together, and we cannot work without partners. So then we are asking about what is the time resolution you want to do analysis. Do we want to do analysis for 15 minutes interval, 5 minutes interval, 30 minutes? But right now I'm just giving 30 because it's easy. Then what is the percentage of load for the distribution transformer? So this is like, we are putting a threshold. Say for me, if the load goes more than 70% or load goes more than 80%, the system should raise alarm. So let's go with 30%. And we also wanted to calculate that, what is the time of day incentive? So is there any incentive which the electric utility can pass on to the consumers? So let's just say 30% incentive. And this is the cost at which utility is procuring the electricity. So again, for the analysis, I'm giving 10, 8, and 5, which is easy. It can be also in points. I can give like 8.3, 5.6, 10, 8, and 5. And then what the tool does is it wants to understand what are your loads. So, because we are saying that time of the day, so your peak time and so summertime and winter time, what are the seasons, what is the load coming up, or what is your peak summer time, peak winter time. So for summers, I can give as May to August. That this is my summers. There might be higher peak time in summers, and for winters, I can say that my winters will start from October to February. And we wanted to do a cyclical calendar because winters are not only till December, it also goes for January. Then we say that, for summers, what is our peak time? And for winters, what is our peak time? So say summers, my peak time is from 9 a.m. to till 4 p.m. And off-peak time starts from 9 p.m. to say 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. So that is my summer peak time. Similarly, we can also say what is the surcharge, how much surcharge we are giving, say like 20%, 30%. I'm giving say 20%, 30%. Similarly, we add what is the winter time, what is winter peak starting time, and what is the peak ending time. So winter, again, I'm giving 9 to 3, and let's say 3:30. And then I say what is my off-peak time. I can say from 8 p.m. to say 6 a.m. is my off-peak time. And then I again put what is my peak surcharge and peak rebate. Then once we do it, then the tool actually calculates the graphs, and hopefully the graphs will run. Yes. So then what we get is we get your what is the simulated EV load year on year. So how our loads are going to, how the load is going for year on year. And so if we see what is the load for year 1, and then what is the load for year 3, year 4, and you can also see load year wise. Just let me go here. So this is my load for year 1, and it is going till what capacity. And what it does, it also simulates your load for, what is your base load, how the base load is coming. So we had given capacity as 300, the DT was at 300 kVA, this is a mistake. And then what is the planning trigger we have given. So you can see how year on year, the capacity is, the base load is increasing for a distribution transformer. And the user can download the data for say year. If I want to download the data for year 1, 2, 3, if I click, I'll get a map for year 1, 2, and 3, something like this. And similarly, what we can do is we can also download, we can also see what is our base and EV load. So if we'll see, this is our base and EV load for all years. And then it says that, how after adding the EV load, if the DT is actually needs augmentation, or the time of the day tariff can help. So you can see how it is for, let me just see for year 1. So we can see how the year 1, the load is going, and where the load is high, what is the time of the peak. And we can compare if in year 2 it's growing, it is not growing. And the idea is for the users to actually run multiple scenarios to find that if their DT needs augmentation, if their DT can nudge for time of the day tariff. And like we mentioned, as a next step, we want to take guidance from KSEB. So to actually have improve on managed charging modules so that it has tariff-based and power output controls. It can also integrate, renewable energy, because the idea of electric vehicles is to decarbonize the transport system. And if it is end-to-end green energy, like Sir mentioned, that is something we need. But I'll stop here so that we can take some questions. Aparna, that's okay?
Definitely, Akansha. I think you do have a few questions. I'm just picking up a few. Anish Rajendran has asked, is voltage instability analysis and loss analysis Uh, Pre and post EV growth possible with Elevate?
No, right
So
now.
do you want to answer?
Yeah, I can take that. So right now we don't have that option, but again, these files also again, Akansha, maybe you will be talking about it later, but we will also be sharing the GitHub link where all these codes are also hosted. So we want to keep it open and collaborative. So if you have suggestions on how these analysis also could be added as in a modular way, we would definitely welcome those suggestions. But at the moment, the voltage instability analysis is not part of it's just a simple load growth, comparing it with the capacity limits of the transformer.
Also, there is a question with regards to the categories of vehicles, which Sita Mahalakshmi has asked. I mean, we can only see the 5 major categories of vehicles. Is there a possibility to add other categories as well?
So you can use the other category for the vehicle which you think is important, and you can use category multiple times. So you can have others 3 times, and then you can add the category. And please do test out the tool, and if you feel like there's a category which we are missing, we can add it, and we can also add multiple categories. Instead of having only 4, we can have 6 or 7 categories. And I can also take the next one, Aparna. Sahana, please do register, and your email ID will come with us, and then we can allow you, and you can set your own password. If you're not able to create the link, yes, we have also taken reactive load, and if you're not able to create an account while using the link, please do send an email to us. We'll figure out, and we'll see if we can create the link from backend.
Akansha, if you have any more slides, you can. Okay, there is another question from Vandana Nair. The variation in starting and end time of the vehicle charge, has that been incorporated into the model?
Yes, Vanna, we are actually talking about the starting time and end time. What I would recommend is we can share the link for the technical note, and we can then also, like Deepak mentioned, that we are also putting the code in GitHub, so you can check it there. And if there's anything, please, we can take it out from there.
And with respect to EV load, which can vary based on type of EVCS, fast, slow, etc., is the charging rate accounted in the tool?
So when we developed the tool, we were the opinion that most of the load which will come for Indian scenario would be based on slow charging. But as a next step, we would actually like to incorporate different types of charging, like slow charger, fast charger, and ultra fast charging. Aparna, I can answer the question offline, and you can go to the next one
All right.
in the interest of time.
Okay. Yeah. So there are more questions coming in for you, Akansha. So you take a look at the QA box. So with that, we will be moving to the panel discussion for the day. And I would request Umesh Sharma, Senior Program Associate, who will be moderating the session. So I'm handing it over to you, Umesh, to introduce the panelists, and over to you for the panel discussion.
Thank you, Aparna. Hope I'm audible. So, yeah, hello everyone. Thanks for joining this webinar. We'll straight away move into the panel discussion. Before we begin, we'll have a couple of stats to get the context. Kerala is emerging as one of the leading states in EV adoption with over 2 lakh electric vehicles registered. As of May 2025, 9.1% of all vehicle sales in the state were electric, making Kerala second only to New Delhi in EV penetration. And also Kerala has more than 1,200 public EV charging stations. So these numbers raise an important question. That is Kerala's distribution grid ready to manage the EV surge over the next 5 years? So that's exactly what we'll be exploring in today's panel discussion. We are joined today by a distinguished panel of experts from KSEBL's EV Cell and WRI India and WRI. So let me introduce them to you without any without any particular order. Ms. Sini John is an assistant executive engineer and the team lead of the EV accelerator cell of KSEBL. Welcome, ma'am. And then we have Mr. Sajin Ismail, assistant engineer and EV cell specialist from KSEBL. And then we have Mr. Deepak Krishnan, who is the Deputy Director at WRI India's Energy Program. And then we have Ms. Aparna Vijay Kumar, who is Senior Program Manager, Electric Mobility with WRI India's Cities team. And then we have Ms. Akansha Saklani, who just now presented the Elevate tool, is a consultant who is working on data and digital products with the Energy Program at WRI. So yeah, we are excited to have them with us today. So let's get their perspectives. So we'll go to each and every one of these panelists to get their initial perspectives, and then we'll have one final round of concluding remarks from everyone. So starting with you, Aparna. So we know there is an increase in EV in Kerala. So the stats say so. How do you think this rise in EV adoption is influencing Kerala's mobility ecosystem at a broader level? And also, how is it going to influence the planning in the years to come?
Thank you, Umesh. We've been looking at the stats of electric vehicle adoption rise in Kerala, this webinar and even the previous webinar. So one unique thing about Kerala when we compare it with the national stats is that we are leaders in terms of private and personal vehicle electrification. So, I mean, we are essentially ranking number one in India in terms of these numbers. Essentially, when we look at the charging patterns of electric vehicles in Kerala, there is a lot of focus on home-based charging rather than public charging, because a lot of our vehicles are for personal use. And also in terms of when we look at personal use vehicles, these vehicles, I mean, as compared to commercial vehicles, these vehicles are not essentially being used your 100 kilometers or 200 kilometers as compared to a public bus or a commercial goods vehicle. So, I mean, when you look at these patterns, a lot of focus needs to be provided in terms of understanding the home charging patterns of personal vehicle utilization in the state. And that is something that KCB has also been looking at in terms of the time of day EV tariff that has been recently introduced. And apart from that, I mean, I will get into the details of it probably in the next round. Another key aspect to consider is that when it comes to electric vehicle charging and the load that electric vehicle charging will have on the grid, electricity grid of Kerala. I mean, we need to definitely. I mean, there is. I mean, it is very crucial to understand the charging pattern of heavy vehicles, because for instance, there are around 35,000 vehicles which are registered across various RTOs of the Trivandrum district, right? And altogether, there are around less than 200 buses which are registered, electric buses which are registered. But if we look at the electricity, I mean, usage consumed by these buses, this 200 odd buses, they are, they are consuming around 1/3 of the entire electricity which is needed for all of the electric vehicles, right? So that is very, it is very clear that we need to definitely look at how heavy vehicles are being adopted. The pattern of adoption of heavy vehicles, and also their energy consumption as well. So that is one thing which will definitely shape the way that shape the way we start planning for charging electric vehicles in Kerala. Yeah, back to you, Umesh.
Thanks, Aparna. Thanks for touching on this and also giving us an insight on how the buses consume 1/3 of all the EV electricity. So yeah, that actually leads us to the next question. On one hand, we have an influx of EV into the grid. On the other hand, we need to also maintain the grid reliability. So that asks for a question, which is to Deepak. Deepak, what should utilities like KSEB focus on to future-proof grid infrastructure for these growing EV demands?
Sure. Thanks, Umesh. Thanks, Aparna. So I think, if you look at it very fundamentally, it is, utilities have been doing load growth, planning for load growth, and building out the network over many, many years. So at a very fundamental level, it is not that different. The only change is that the rapid pace of this load growth, that is a key differentiator, and the way it is going to be spread out across the different RTO, that is regional transport office jurisdictions, and correlating that information about sales in one particular area to ultimately where these vehicles charge, so that predictability of where the load is going to come and at what point of time and at what rate. I think those are the three parameters which are going to change, and this warrants a change in the way network planning is done, to the extent that you need to keep updating your scenarios more regularly. Now, if, for instance, in previous before the EV era, if, let's say, there was a system of collecting all possible applications for people who want to build houses, who want to build malls or set up industries, they would submit an application to the utility to ask for a connection. In such cases, you had that predictability of information. You knew that if someone applies to set up an industry today, he's not going to have the plant up and running in 1.5 or 2 weeks. It definitely would need, depending on the size, maybe even a small one, 3 to 4 months to set up and get in top. So you had that predictability, and the location also you were very sure of. Now, for instance, I might buy my vehicle in Trivandrum, but 1 week later I might get transferred to Kasaragod, which is at the other extreme of Kerala. So now, how do I, if I just go by the RTO data, that vehicle is Trivandrum based, but now it has gone to Kasaragod. So I need to keep my planning process also fairly dynamic, so that real time information about where these vehicles are coming in. I'm not suggesting that we find some way to track each and every vehicle. That is going to be impossible. But regularly assessing load growth patterns, conduct, and very now KSEB would have its own app, and that makes it easier to also run consumer surveys in terms of asking if people have plans to buy EVs, if they already have bought EVs, have they shifted their location. So I think these kind of queries and polling and finding out information that is voluntarily given by consumers and adding that to the load growth database, and consist regularly and constantly updating scenarios in terms of when these loads are going to cross the transformers loading limits, and at what point of time what is the load on the transformer, and then take that information proactively to KSERC for capex approvals, or take it within the internal planning process to see if planning for say TOU tariffs align with other goals of the utility. I think those are so it's a more dynamic planning process and a more proactive data collection approach is what I feel will benefit utilities like KSEB.
Thanks, Deepak, for this comprehensive answer. Yes, regularly updating the load growth and updating it, the predictions and all that are very important. We'll move now to Akansha, who is the data person in this panel. So, Akansha, you have worked extensively with a lot of tools. What is the role of tools in load forecasting, and how do you think these tools will help make data-driven decisions?
Thanks, Varun. Thanks, Umesh. So sorry, I was just replying for the message and then I was replying to Anisha's message. So when we talk about tools, right, and specifically from the point of EVs, we should talk about data, forecast, and tool together. And in my understanding, EVs are not just, the cars. They can also help you to act as mobile batteries in case of floods, if there's power outages. So then, they can also help you in grid breakdown. So when we talk about data, it is very important. I'll come to the tool with the data first. It is very important to know when an electric vehicle is being charged and where it is charged, and if your grid can handle it. And when we talk about integrating renewable energy into the mix, because renewable energy is also temporal in nature as well as spatial. So when we say temporal, your renewable energy will keep on changing according to the weather. So then data allows us to understand what is happening or what is the situation. Then we talk about load forecasts or tools. So tools and load forecast can be together or can be separate. So load forecast can help you to have some foresight. Say, suppose I know that in winters my solar power would be less, so it helps me to help the balance of demand and supply. Or in short term, if we talk about medium term, in terms of when we do the forecast, it can help us to have demand response. So if I know that my demand is going to increase, like sir mentioned that there is high demand of electric vehicles and high demand of ACs. So if my demand is going to increase, can we design demand responsive systems? And in long term, it can also help us to guide the investment decisions. And then when we come to the tools, help us take this forecast, take the data, and make into some actually, it helps us to convert this raw data and to forecast into a smart decision support system. So it can be like integration of RE, like Deepak mentioned, apps which KCB has, or your smart charging infrastructure, so it can do it. And now if we take example of KCB, which has a V2G, which they did it with IIT Bombay. So now if we put data there, we can see that what time that electricity is getting, when these vehicles are getting charged. They can also see that if there's going to be a load shedding for critical infrastructure, can that vehicle give electricity back in terms of if there's any flood or there's a power cut, which we cannot do it. So for critical loads, can it help? And we have seen in many scenarios it happening. And then again, if we talk about the tools, it can see that what is the demand of electric vehicles coming, where do you need to put AV infrastructure, charge infrastructure, and then what is a forecast when we are talking about the demand of electricity. I'll stop here, but if you have any follow-up question, you can take it from there.
Thanks for actually mentioning that there is a spatial and also a temporal element to the load and touching on those demand response things. Yeah, thanks. So we'll now go to the panelists from KSEB, Madam Sini, John, and Sajin. So from KSEB's perspective, what do you think are the policy and regulatory steps that are key to supporting Kerala's EV transition?
Good evening, all. Kerala is experiencing a rapid surge in the electric vehicle adoption. The best part is that number of charging stations is also increasing in accordance with the growth of electric vehicles. However, the e-mobility ecosystem cannot grow beyond a certain limit without the proper policy and regulatory support. Given that Kerala has made a significant progress, and now we have more than 2.75 lakh of EVs on nodes and more than 2,220 charging infrastructure across the state. So with this growth of this mass adoption of e-mobility in the state, it poses some challenges to the grid. More EVs means more energy demand. Then there are grid stability issues. There KCB is anticipating peak demand overload issues. Then local power distribution challenges, face unbalanced issues, then power quality concerns. All will be there in the grid in the near future. But our KCB is ready to address these issues. KCB is planning for additional generation of 10,000 megawatt by 2030. And accordingly, the transmission as well as distribution grid also will be augmented. In short, KCB is committed to make the grid ready for the EV growth for the next 10 years. In this 10,000 megawatt, it will be more than 50% will be the renewable energy. So there should be some measures for RE integration to the grid also. In this regard, EVs has been used as a tool to support the grid during solar and non-solar hours. Now, in this regard, KSEBL is doing a pilot project, as Chance mentioned. We are doing a pilot project in collaboration with IIT Bombay on the V2G implementation across the state. So KSEBL is doing its part as a policy maker, and also we are escalating things to the government as government, the apex body of policy making, as and when required, for the support from the government. Regarding the regulatory support, we know that Government of India, Ministry of Power is releasing guidelines, tariff guidelines for EV charging, and it has stipulated that charging tariff should be single part tariff. Till recently, it was two-part tariff in Kerala, and in the recent tariff regulations, which was published in December 2024, it has modified to single part tariff. It's a very welcome change. Then, in addition, Ministry of Power has stipulated that there should be segregation in the tariff in solar and non-solar hours. There should be 30% incentive in the solar hours and 30% more charges in the non-solar hours. Our Honorable Commission has adopted that also. This shows that there is enough regulatory support for the e-mobility sector in our state. Kerala is lucky in that aspect. That's from my side. Thank you.
Thanks, ma'am. Thanks for touching on those policy and regulatory steps that will have a smooth EV transition for Kerala. So adding to that, Naushad sir mentioned that 15 to 20 gigawatt will be reached, the demand by 2040. So would like to know, how does KSEBL plan to incorporate EV charging as a part of this forecast?
I'll thank you, Umesh, for the question, and I'll take up that answer. Nusha sir already told about this aspect, and he was extensively working on the renewable energy part and making Kerala one of the ready state in case of a solar adoption. But now, one of the issues I'm talking on the grid side perspective, because renewable energy is substantially available at the state, especially on the daytime from the rooftop solar. But the problem is we are not having adequate demand on the daytime, and we are unable to capture, unable to use this power. And when it comes to electric vehicles, the growth of electric vehicles is something that is not known historically, and we don't know how exactly it is going to grow up. And with WRI, we were working on the projections and the impacts for last 1 year. We are continuously working on it, and different aspects were taken by us. By 2030, we had different calculations of reaching this much number, that numbers, but there are a lot of aspects that we need to work on it. When it comes to vehicle production, the automakers really make a very like significant impact. So if their production is not up to the numbers that we are actually projecting, the kind of distribution infrastructure we are setting up will go on waste, and it will actually bankrupt the DISCOM. At the same time, if we are not setting up the infrastructure that would actually require, it will also create a huge problem. So the EV is like electric vehicle is actually a potential threat, and at the same time, this is going to be an opportunity for the DISCOMs in specifically ancillary services. That's why we have already taken the steps to understand how V2G regulations can be brought up and bring this as a battery storages, mobile storages to the grid. And we are actually thinking about working on the virtual power plant scenario. And there is like virtual net metering. Those things are already been mentioned in the renewable energy draft regulation by the Honorable Regulatory Commission of Kerala. And going forward, what I would say is, will we be ready for the electric vehicles by 2030 as a grid? Yes, we will be ready, but it's not about just expanding the DISCOMs capacity and bringing a lot of like infrastructure up in place. It's more about like a complementary solution where the electric vehicles can actually, the battery can actually be used for storage purpose and put the grid back, and distributed generation should be enhanced. There should be a segregation, and the local grid should be able to manage it. So that's why we'll have to think in another way so that we can actually manage it. So this, even though electric vehicle is basically for any vehicle is for the primary purpose is for transportation, but this is not going to run through the conventional fuels, and electricity is the major part. And of course, electric vehicle and the transportation sector will completely be managed by electricity, that is power. And of course, we are only talking about clean power, so that means the renewable power. So we are actively working on the solar side and try to bring the storage regulations. And sir, and already we have mentioned about grid scale battery energy storages we are working on in heavy capacity. Now we want to work on the like distributed level energy storages and understand how well we can bring electric vehicles into this scenario, and finally need this as a like storage solution. There will be more generation, but at the same time, electric vehicles for the ancillary support services is something as DISCOM we are expecting in the future to actually overcome this issue.
Okay, thank you, sir. Given that 2040 is a long time from now, it's very important to have a correct projection or have a very careful projection and also a good planning. So yeah, taking your words, I'll move to rest of the panelists. Thank you for your valuable insights in the first round. I'll now come back to each and every one of you for your final thoughts. And then we'll open the floor for questions from the audience, if any. So going back to Aparna, your final thoughts.
Thank you, Umesh, and it was great hearing to all of the hearing all of the speakers. There is a lot of interest within K. I mean, there is a lot of proactive efforts that KCB is taking in terms of, I mean, making the grid green, and also to proactively include EV charging as part of their planning processes. I think my last line would be to understand the unique patterns of EV utilization, EV adoption in Kerala, especially with respect to private and commercial vehicles, because in Kerala, while we definitely see a substantial electric two-wheeler usage, there is also a higher electric car usage or adoption in Kerala when we compare it with the national average. So that is that needs to be taken into account. And also when it comes to heavy vehicles, especially public buses or goods vehicles, the consumption values vary significantly when it comes to the other vehicles which might be higher in number, and And also would like to reiterate the point that Deepak mentioned. While a lot of the vehicles, I mean, we might not be able to rely on the RTO data because these vehicles could fly anywhere in the country, anywhere in the state. Again, that brings back the point of heavy vehicles, because a pattern in Kerala is that a lot of the heavy vehicles, in terms of private buses, tourist buses, and heavy goods vehicles like medium and heavy duty trucks, they are not registered in Kerala, but we definitely see a lot of movement to Kerala because there is a lot of consumption happening in the state. So that that there needs to be some kind of a collaboration in terms of sharing data at the national level on patterns of usage of these vehicles, so that states can prepare themselves and make themselves future proof for any kind of scenario. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Aparna. Of course, yeah, data is the key at the end of the day. And then we'll, now go to Akansha. Akansha, your final thoughts.
Thanks, Umesh, and thanks, Aparna, to talk about data. So I completely agree that, having data and the tools, and then tools should be what I feel should be open source, accessible, so that specifically open source, and this is also one of the reasons we want anyway to be open sources, because if somebody is going to take decisions on analysis or forecast, they should be able to know the methodology, they should be able to trust the methodology and the analysis. And it's like if you're buying something, you would want to test it and break it to see if it is working fine. So this is what I would say, that reliability of data, reliability and trust in the tools and analysis to take it forward from there.
Thank you, Akansha. And then Deepak, over to you for your final thoughts.
Sure, thank you. I think most of a lot of points have been said, but I'll just add one thing that this is not going to be done only by one organization, either only by KSEB or only by WRI. Lots of, as we have seen in the conversation here, many suggestions. A lot of you are also working on other important aspects which in this iteration we have not been able to cover. So I think maybe the last thought would also be a suggestion to KCB to see how the EV cell could get all these organizations to come together and see how this suite of tools or analysis that each one of us is working would prove useful to KCB going forward.
Thanks, Deepak. Yeah, eventually we all hope all these tools are helpful for KSEBL to make meaningful decisions. And now over to officials from KSEB, if any of you have got any final thoughts to share with us.
I would request Naushad sir to conclude with the overview of today's points that you have raised.
So it was indeed wonderful. Really, a lot of information was there in the very short discussions even. The presentation which the madam has made has really useful, such a good data collections and all. As put by the panelist, why can't we have an information regarding the grid stability, mainly technically to say the harmonics, or the DC flickering, or the DC injection from one side to other. Everything have got impact in the grid. The subject is that make the grid to walk in line with our EV injection, EV heating in Kerala. Now, I would like to have a different approach. As rightly said by Mr. Sajin, the regulatory commission is on now with the new regulation. So the metering system is going to be changed as far as scenario is concerned. So far, the consumers or the consumers were enjoying the net metering system, but slowly there will be a transient, but there will be a fast transient, of course, we should say, to the net billing system. What is the concern? Somebody is not installing a battery storage system. Even above 3 kilowatt, they will be put into the basket of net billing. only one who install a hybrid inverter with that privilege. What I suggest you, what I put for this forum is, if somebody have certain type of storage, can be a moving storage, a vehicle to grid, if an equivalent storage system is accomplished in the vehicle as a storage, that also need to be considered like a hybrid storage system. Why not a static storage? Why not be a moving storage can be considered? Only concern for KSEBL infrastructure is that this much energy that is being produced during the solar hours is to be stored somewhere and it has to be taken back into the grid. If a privilege can be given to the hybrid inverters or a static storage system, the same privilege is eligible for a mobile storage as well. So we have to put it like that. So now the storage system utility scale is there. We already had 125 megawatt slash 1000 megawatt hour. Already work has been started in Mailati, in Kannur. Another 250 altogether. With another 4 hour is there and work has already been started. Tata has been taken off that. Another one we are planning, so 250 slash 500 megawatt hour. That also actually we are going to start. All these are actually utility scale. Coming to that, next is community scale. Each transformer, we are planning certain storage system. Already the pilot is on. One project has already been selected. Next one is actually hybrid storage system in independent homes. Like that, as a fourth vertical, what must be our idea is that we should put whoever is having an EV vehicle and he is able to give a concept of or a aim of vehicle to grid at home. If it is possible to store it during the solar hour and can be used in either way, he must also have the privilege to come under the net metering system instead of going to the net billing system. So the Honorable Supreme Court has given already a verdict. The hearing on this, it will be coming up. Prefer is that you team of WRI representing India and all should have a call and should put this concept before the regulatory commission so that let them change the regulation in that respect. This not only promote the EV in Kerala, but also give certain insight to see the stabilization as well. So the 2040 is critical. 2030 is 10,000 megawatt that we had already planned. Just making all the measures in. We are setting everything in position to make that one. It doesn't have a RE touch 100%, nothing like that. But in 2040, this transition from 10 megawatt to 15 gigawatt, 10,000 megawatt to 15 gigawatt, of course, that will cross. There is no doubt about that. I think at this moment is not that much is possible, but 110%, I can say that it will touch or cross 15 gigawatt by 2040 from pure RE. So the grid stability is one of the questions. Not only the transformer level need to be concerned. So storage level must be there. We have to walk through just to make the storage like that. And total addition must be in the green scenario. It must be either from the solar or from the wind. As far as Kerala is concerned, it is just 71 megawatt. 71 megawatt for all units together. How much we can have when you walk to that 15 gigawatt capacity? Nothing is there. So here the only says that so the battery system, our role as an EV in the battery and its monitoring, as well as vehicle to grid also, we want to have types of what we call online systems as well. The monitoring is possible, but monitoring is not possible. Even the LD doesn't have a control over the integrated RE scenarios and all. So now the another point which we have to discuss is that storage obligation. Energy storage obligation is one which we have to address upon. 1.5% of that we have to do. How you will measure this energy storage obligation? You're having a car there, you're having a hybrid here, you're having a community storage here. But that's what the utility can put in. So the softwares and all the things which don't speak in a way how energy is there in storage. It is a mobile one, it is a static one, or the community level, the unity level, unity grid level, whatever it is, it should be measured and it must be in the public domain as well, then only it has got a full shape. So thank you very much for this presentation. What I feel is that the next presentations, what we are making, that should address this grid level impacts, harmonics or flickers or DC crossing properties, and the new regulation what is coming in should have a part of the EV storage as well. Our public should have the benefit of that as well. EV is there, that mobility storage is there, that also must be considered. Not only in Kerala, even this concept can be put before the other states as well. So here now there is a restriction for the solar to add up. Why the restriction is there? Make it up, make it storage, and go to that 15 gigawatt by 2040. Agree. So this is my insight on this. Really enjoyed this one. I thought that I might have come a little bit before into your team, and Sajjan, Sini, and all these teams. Actually, I would like to work with you. These interactions are really helpful, and we offer all our support in this regard for the WRI and the team concerned for a better reaching target. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So yeah, now I'll hand it over to Aparna. So Aparna, if you would like to take over from now.
Thank you, Umesh. Thank you, sir. Thank you for those words with regards to vehicle storage. We would definitely love to take those conversations forward. So we do have a few more webinars planned in the series. Our next topic that we had initially decided is renewable energy for EV charging, and we will be sharing details on the takeaways from this webinar, as well as the details of the next webinar within a few days. So thank you to KCB for all of the support in organizing the webinar, and also to my colleagues. So on behalf of KCB and WRI India, I thank all of the participants who joined us and who stayed throughout the hour of the webinar. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.